All right, and what is good, everybody? Quancredible here to bring you the review for Black Clover chapter 256. This chapter was hype. I mean, it was like just the the big moments of like Yami and Dante's fight. And like, I mean, granted, that's kind of all it encompasses because it was really mostly a fight chapter, but it was still hype nonetheless. Um, the chapter starts with like Finral kind of thinking to himself, like, how can I help or should I be helping? And this is something that I did kind of think about for a second when I was thinking about Yami and Dante's fight. Like, Finral could possibly provide support, similar to how when him, Jack, and Yami were all fighting against the elf version of Langris. But then again, I guess the situations are kind of very different considering Jack was also there to provide more, more cover, so Finral necessarily wouldn't be a target. And then there's also the whole issue that like Dante is significantly stronger than Elflanger, so it's very, very different. But I think it was very important to throw that in there just in case anybody was wondering why Finral wasn't helping or anything along those lines. And then, of course, in the very beginning of the chapter, along with this, we get to see Dante's 80% form. And the thing that was weird with his 80% form is, I don't know if this is nitpicky or if this is just me, but like, I'll show it right here. When he goes it, he has like his two horns like right here, and then like he has the other ones like right here. But like later on in the chapter, he has no horns on his forehead. And then again later on in the chapter, he has small horns. So it's like I don't really know what's going on. Like the two horns on the sides have always stayed there, at least throughout the chapter. But just like the ones on his forehead, it was like three different ways. So I'm just like, it's kind of weird. Like, was that intentional or did Tabata mess up and the editor just not catch it? Like, I mean, maybe I'm like nitpicking or looking too much into it, but there was just something that was just weird. But anyway, aside from that, the biggest changes that I can see to the form, in addition to getting a tail, how we've seen with like Asta and Vonica, Dante's tail didn't really look like it like meant anything. It looked similar to the symbol on his chest, and he also got the same symbols that he would like has on his chest on his hands. I'm not for sure if that pertains to his ability in any kind of way. Like, I'm not for sure if that's what's producing gravity or if it's just strictly a design choice. I mean, still cool nonetheless. Then the next part of the chapter is arguably one of the more important parts, in my opinion, where Dante starts talking about how the whole power between demon host and human actually works. He says that their demons are actually still in the underworld, and they're basically borrowing their power from there, which is why they can only go up to 80%. It's not like they can't control more or some other reason like that. It's just that they actually cannot access any more power until the door is all the way open. And then Dante even says that he is unforsure about Asta and his devil. So like, as we know, Asta's demon like resides in his grimoire, not necessarily his self or the other world. Because if you remember back, I'll post the panel if I can find it. But Zagrid even says that like he, or not says, but he notes that Asta's demon is inside of his grimoire, not like anywhere else. So like, it's weird. I'm not for sure what we can do with this information, because it's like, okay, the Dark Triad demons are in the underworld and they're just transferring their power, while Asta's one is inside of his grimoire, and that's how Asta's getting his power. It's like, I'm assuming that means that the contract that they have has to be different in some way. So yeah, those are my thoughts basically on the whole like Asta demon and situation. Let me know if you guys have any weird opinions or thoughts on that themselves. I'm not going to touch on it anymore because I'm just going to talk myself into circles. But moving on into like Yami and Dante's actual fight. So Dante like makes this gravity singularity or something or another, and basically he's fighting Yami with that the entire time. Like, he shoots it at him and it like carves out the ground and like the trees in the mountain and all that. And I'm like, geez, that's like crazy. Now, I don't know, like, power scaly people are gonna say like, oh, Dante shot a black hole at Yami and this and that, when like, I mean, obviously this is not a black hole. I mean, it is a black hole like attack, but an actual black hole would, suck up literally everything in the area. So I mean, since it's not doing that, we can definitely use our brains to conclude this is not a black hole, but still a really dope and powerful attack nonetheless. Like, even when Yami is able to dodge it or whatever, he still has to worry about like Dante's actual gravity magic, where he's shooting like rocks at him and things along those lines. And then even Yami's Dark Dimension Slash, like the one of the most overpowered attacks in the entire show. like Dante was able to just make like a singularity and it just like distorted it so like the dimension slash didn't even do anything. Like it just made it not hit him. So it's like it's very apparent at this point that Dante is much stronger than Yami. But one thing with fights, like not even just anime and manga fights, but even fights in general, is even if someone is stronger than you, you can still beat them with like strategy and technique, and just there's so many different scenarios and situations where the stronger person can lose. Not saying I think Yami is gonna win, but that just putting it out there. And then one thing that Yami said during this fight that kind of threw me off, or like just struck me as kind of odd, is he mentioned that if he hit like the singularity with his black moon, they would cancel each other out, but he can't afford to lose this one. So like, it's weird to me because in my mind I'm just like, why can't you just make another one? Can the black moon spell that Yami has, can he only make like one or two or something, and he can't do it again? Like it was just weird. It just stuck out to me. Maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. If you think I'm interpreting it wrong, let me know like what it actually meant, or if you viewed it a different way, let me know down below. But just when I was reading it, that was just a little off to me. But yeah, as their fight goes on, one of the cool things I noticed was that the entire time, like after Dante went 80%, if you pay attention to him during their fight, he literally never moves from that spot. Like he literally, like Yami's darting all over the place, dodging the singularity, dodging rocks, and Dante literally has not moved from that spot at all. Which I was like I think it was like the third time I went back to reread it, and I was like, wait a second, he literally hasn't even moved. Like even when I don't even think he changed directions, because like even when Yami did the dark dimension slash, he was kind of like facing the other way, and when he drops the rock on not Rami but Yami, it's like on the side of him, so it's like he literally did not move the entire time. But after he drops the rock on Yami, that's when like Yami surpasses his limits, like he typically always does in these kinds of scenarios, and he takes his mana zone, I want to say, and he like condenses, like he mentioned it earlier, just to keep condensing his power. And when he was thinking to himself about like how to beat Dante or how to fight him, which is, side note, one of the things I enjoy about Yami a lot is like he's one of, like, we've seen a lot of characters fight, but the way Tabata does Yami's fights are really like interesting to me, because he always has it where Yami is having this like dialogue inside of his head, thinking of like ways to beat people. Like when he was fighting against Partry, like he was strategizing to himself, or when he was fighting against the Word Devil, he was also like taking notes of the devil's abilities while trying to think of a counter strategy. And even in this Dante fight, he was jumping around like, I can't like cut him because he'll just regenerate, so there's no point getting close. I need like a big attack to like really hit him. Like he's always thinking to himself, and it's really like, I don't know, it's kind of cool to see what is going on inside of a character's head when they're fighting. But anyway, he takes what he had mentioned earlier with the like condensing the mana and all that, and he ends up doing like a thrust attack that I'm assuming he came up with that on the spot just because he was literally thinking of it. And he freaking blows out Dante's like entire torso. Like Dante's literally just like arms, a head, wings, and legs. Like there is no torso there at all. And even Yami's like, I didn't even know that was gonna happen. So it's just funny. Like Vanessa and Finro are super shocked. Like everybody's just like, wow. Even Dante's like, what? Like it's just, yeah, Yami just destroys his whole his entire torso. Now, aside from how odd it is that Dante is still able to talk while he's just like a floating head, like I guess whatever Dante's magic type is, it would have to go beyond flesh magic. I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned it to you guys, but I feel like I've said that I always thought he had flesh magic. Like that is what I believed him to have. But it would have to be something more if he's still alive. Like I don't know, like is like with this level of regeneration, if he's able to regenerate from this, which I think he will be able to, it'd have to be something crazy. Like it would have to be some crazy type of magic, like body magic, like just something a step further than just simply flesh, because you're missing bones, you're missing important organs. Like Dante's missing a lot of stuff other than just flesh, so it's like he's gonna need a little bit more than that to like pull himself back together. As for what I believe is going to happen next, now that this is basically concluded, I really am not for sure. Like, I obviously think Dante is going to regenerate, but from there, I'm not for sure how this goes, because Yami's basically spent. Like, he's done everything he could possibly do to, like, stop this. I'm not for sure if other brigade captains know, because Fenrir was like talking to himself about getting one. So it's like they might not even know what's going on, or they more than likely don't even know what's going on. So it's just seeming more and more likely that Yami might get captured here. But at the same time, it would make a lot of sense if he didn't, because if you think about it, if they just have William and they have Yami, they could literally just go back to the spade and open the portal. So it's like, and then that, like, there's not enough time for the main cast to, I guess, get stronger to confront them unless they do it like super quick. So it kind of makes sense if they don't get Yami right now. Now, as for on the topic of them not getting Yami, I'm not for sure how they would escape, because Fenrir's like scared to move, as he should be, because I don't think Fenrir can avoid any of Dante's attacks. Heck, even when Dante was at 60%, he couldn't even properly use facial magic around him. So it's like getting all of them out of there is just going to prove kind of difficult. I mean, because you have Asta, Yami, Vanessa, a severely injured Gouch who Gray is still healing, and wherever Henry is, like, who knows where Henry is right now. Not saying like where is he as in like he should be helping, but just like we just haven't seen him in a while, so I don't know where he is. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think is going to happen next, because it could go a lot of different ways. Tobias definitely keeping us guessing. I really can't wait for next week just to know like what he could possibly do next. But one thing for sure, definitely Dante is going to, like, you know, regenerate his body. I don't think anybody doesn't think that. I'm pretty sure we all can agree on that. But aside from that, I really did enjoy the chapter. Super hype, little bit of information, big on the fight, which, you know, is always good. And it's Yami on top of all that. So it's like, you know, me, as much as I'm pretty sure everybody in the fandom loves to see Yami go at it. Yeah, that's all I got to say on it. Like and sub to the video. I always appreciate that kind of stuff. And I'm Quancredible, and I'll catch you guys next time.